over 61% of small businesses have closed because of the first COVID shutdown. I'm here to make sure that the second COVID shutdown, if it happens, doesn't affect you or your small business. I've put together 3 specific steps you can take right now as a brick and mortar business to ensure that you are growing your business, staying in front of your ideal client and your customers, and not only surviving a new shutdown, but thriving through it. I'm Elisa Connor with Elisa Connor Consulting. What I do is help small businesses put their message in front of the right people at the right time so that they can increase their profits, thrive as business owners, and continue to support our economy. So I wanted to get some tips and ideas together specifically for brick and mortar businesses. So this is businesses that have a storefront or that operate in a location-based business. So you would have businesses like wineries and spice shops and even those businesses, not necessarily service businesses. I'm going to cover those in a different video, but anything where there is a product sold. So not restaurants, I already did those, but all of the other different type of brick and mortar businesses. So retail shops that have been hit really hard with COVID. And I have some clients that own a craft store. So things like that. If you have a brick and mortar business, this is the video for you. And we're going to go over 3 specific tips that you can put into place right now that are going to help you if we do go into another scenario, especially during the holiday season, because this is there's a reason it's called Black Friday. This is when most retailers generate the most revenue for their business. So we want to make sure that you're able to do that. So without further ado, let's hop right in and talk about those three things. So the number one recommendation that I have for every business, I don't care if you're a restaurant, a service-based business, or a brick and mortar business, is you have to be building your email list. And there are several reasons for this. Number one is that when you're building your email list, you now have a captive audience that you can put information in front of. And that's really important when we have all of the things going on that we have going on with cases rising and with the new, let's face it, the new way that business is being done. The more you can be in front of your audience, the better. And so when you have an email list, you're able to send out a notification if you have to close or if your store hours have changed or how you're going to do business going forward. So when you have that email list, you're able to communicate effectively and more quickly with the people that are your customers and that are buying from you. Not everybody's going to go to your website, but if you have the communication in multiple places, so your email, social media, on your website, then people will see it, and it also reminds them. It's also a great way to stay top of mind, which is another reason to have an email list. One, you have the ability to send out what's happening in your location, whether that is, unfortunate news that you have to close for a little bit because, one of your employees got COVID or there's been an exposure or whatever, you can let people know, but also so you can stay top of mind so that you can let people know what's happening. So, and I'm going to give some examples in just a minute of what that looks like. So, but staying top of mind, people are very busy. We're very distracted. We have a lot of things going on in our world, especially right now. I mean, we're in the middle of an election. Today is election day as I'm recording this, but we also have a pandemic and all kinds of other various things that are happening. And so to get attention and grab attention and keep that attention, the more you can stay in front of your audience without being another distraction per se, the better off you're going to be. So building your email list. And then the other piece of this is, especially with the holiday season coming up, it's a great way for you to put your special promotions that you put together for this season or whatever season that you're celebrating in front of your clients and the people that have purchased from you before or that have intended to purchase but haven't gotten there yet. And it's also a great way for them to be able to share that information with others that they know that would be interested. It's very easy to forward an email. You don't have to, hunt down a link. You can just hit forward and send it to whoever you're thinking about. So maybe that promotion isn't good for them, or maybe they want that as a Christmas gift. They can forward that and say, hey, I really love this floral arrangement or whatever it might be. Maybe we should go in on it for Christmas dinner, or we should send it to mom, or whatever it looks like. So those are the three main reasons to get your email list started, besides all of the economic impacts of having a really viable email list. It is the top way to convert any type of lead into a customer. I think the latest, I didn't look it up right before I started, but the latest statistic that I read was it has like a 420% conversion rate. So every dollar you put in, you get $420 out. So those are the main reasons to start an email list. So number two, another thing you can do as a brick and mortar business is find a way to creatively package your products and services. So maybe you're used to having people come in and just pick out what they want. If you're, say, a craft store, I have a client right now that has a craft store, so I'm going to throw this out there for her. And most people will come in and pick out the fabric they want for a quilt. Or if they're doing Christmas cards, maybe they would pick out stamps and paper and glue and accessories and embellishments for their cards. Or maybe they're doing knitting. Well, maybe you put together packages for all of those things and have a drive-by, so that people can, I know for a fact that this location has been closed a couple of times because of COVID scares. Luckily, nobody in the shop had it, but they have to follow protocol as well. But, something that she could do is say, here's our Christmas holiday packs, and say there's, 6 pieces of cardstock that will make 12 cards, and there's 2 stamp sets, and there's glue, and there's these embellishments. And the whole kit is ready. And we, by the way, have made this video to show you how to make the cards, because that is like an extra bonus that becomes part of the package. And that's something people don't think about when they're creating packages. So she could do that for all of the different craft arenas in her store, and then figure out, what would that look like if it's past, Christmas card sending season and people don't have time to make their cards. How do you package that into a gift that somebody can give to someone else? And then how do you make it super easy for them, either it's delivery or drive-by and pickup, to get that to them or ship it, whichever one you want to do. So let's look at another example. So say you have a spice shop, and a lot of the benefit of going to a spice shop is you get to smell and taste, or not necessarily taste, but you get the experience of being in the spice shop, and also the knowledge of the people that know about spices. And so you don't really get that anymore. And there's a couple of spice shops locally that I know are doing a pretty good job of packaging their supplies, or they will shop it for you and you can go and pick it up. But to kick it up a notch, maybe something they could do is not only create a Thanksgiving day package of spices that they're going to sell from now until the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. But to go with that, they're running a contest, for example, of user-generated content on how people creatively use these spices, not only for their turkey dinner, but what did they do up to, or what are they planning to do for Thanksgiving that they can then share across their social platforms and everywhere, their newsletter, their email, all of those things, all of these recipes that their audience, that's user-generated content, that's what that means, their audience created. So Sally made a Cajun fried turkey, and she used these spices in this way. Or we'll say Hannah wanted to do a vegetarian turkey dinner, and she's going to use the spices this way. Or they took those Thanksgiving spices and they put them into another dish completely. That's a way you could do that. And then you have that content that you can then remarket out to your audience and use, here's some additional recipes you could make, and include the recipes. The easiest way to make these is to buy the holiday kit. And so those are 2 examples of how you could repackage what you're already doing. And then, you can carry that through this, for example, the spice shop example, you could carry that through to the holidays. There are so many different events that you can celebrate in the holidays, and it's going to look different this way, or not this way, this year. So however you can get ahead of that flow, not everybody's going to be able to celebrate Christmas together, but you could both have the same spice kit and create the same recipes and share them over Zoom. So if you can't get together for the holidays with your family because they're out of state or they're at a risk or whatever that looks like, you can still have a celebration of some sort. And so feeding into that new mentality of what COVID looks like for the holiday season is a great way for you to get your products and services in front of not only your current audience, but a new audience. So number 3 is to get social. Now, a lot of people are either intimidated, overwhelmed, or annoyed by social media. But the reality is that social media was created so you could be social. That means to have conversations, to ask engaging questions, to get in front of people that actually want to hear from you, and to put not only your promotions out in front of them, but also all of the other things you do all year long. So maybe you help a charity or you're a very philanthropic. You want to put that out there. You want to ask your customers what they want, what they're doing with your product and service. Share their success stories. Share the favorites of the store. Like, for example, if you have we'll use the craft store example again. You have a specific fabric that everybody has purchased, and maybe you have everybody send in all of the projects they made so that people can get an idea. Maybe you don't have that fabric available anymore, but here's all the projects, all the different projects that people made with this fabric. And we have this one that's very similar. Or you could do a very similar project with this fabric for upcoming holidays, upcoming events, or upcoming charity drives, or whatever that looks like. The other thing is to get in the habit of posting very regularly. Now, there's some discrepancy about like, what does that look like? Do I post every day? Do I post? When do I post? That kind of thing. And honestly, it's trial and error. You have to get it out there, get in front of people, and you have to start building a following. And then you can determine how often you need to post and stay in front of people. Typically, what I'm finding is that people that post regularly are seeing better engagement and better traction in Facebook because they're out there. They're out there more often. And we all worry about the algorithm, but if you're putting content in front of people that they want to see and that is interesting to them and that they like and that they share and that they comment on, it's more likely going to show up, as well as all the content you post thereafter to those people. And then there's a couple other tips under this one that I threw together. Number 1 is you can run ads locally. So if you're a local brick and mortar business and you're trying to target specific people around your location, so say maybe in a 20-mile radius or a 10-mile radius, you can actually go in and create an ad specifically in Facebook. And I know some other platforms offer this as well, but I'm going to use Facebook and Instagram as an example because they're married practically, brother and sister, whatever. But you can target really close in. So if you don't want this to go to all of Metro Denver, for example, and you just want it to go to zip codes that are surrounding your location, you can run an ad to those people and you can get really, really narrow on specifically who in those locations you want to target. So you're not going to want to target somebody that eats fast food every night if you're a spice store, because they're probably not cooking. But you would want to target people that read, Gourmet Magazine, or people that have clicked on HelloFresh, or, all of the different things that would be kind of on their radar. Like maybe they want to cook, but they don't know enough about cooking, or they don't have the right things in their kitchen to cook, but you can put that in front of them. And then last but not least on this getting social tip is to update your profile. A lot of us set up our business profile and then we never look at it again. But the reality is that your business morphs, you morph, and especially right now, everything is changing. And so when you update that profile, it does one of two things. It tells Facebook, hey, I've added something new here. And so they're more likely to get you in front of more people. But it also gives your customers or your potential customers the ability to see what exactly is going on in your business right now. And that would include not only in the description and talking about all of the problems you solve specifically with your business, but also updating your cover photo and your profile picture. Maybe you want to put something up there seasonally for each upcoming event for the end of the year. So those are the 3 tips I have for you. Number 1, you want to start building your email list no matter what you're doing, and then engaging with that email list, staying consistently in front of them. Number 2, you want to repackage your products and services so that you can get them in front of people and make it easy for people to buy from you. And then number 3 is to get social. Get on social media, stay in front of your audience, and get them to take action in sharing your brand with other people. Now I have a bonus in here, and that actually I have two bonuses. Number one, the number one bonus is to make sure you're asking your clients and your customers to leave you a review. Now, it's not a good idea to have them do it in the store because Google doesn't like that. Just a little heads up, they don't like that, and they will actually penalize you for that. But if you will just even put a note in their say their gift bag or their bag that you're giving them, and ask them to either leave you a review or to share their success story on social media and tag you. That's a great way to build up a little bit more momentum behind your brand. So that's bonus tip number one. And then bonus tip number two is to think about updating your website. Anytime you make a change, even if it's a small change on copy or a small change on different things, it ignites Google and has them come back and search your website again. And so if you're updating it for Christmas and you maybe have some holiday packages on there, when you make those updates, it's going to tell Google, hey, there's new stuff over here, come check it out. And that is the way to kickstart your momentum. So the more you make those changes, and the easiest way to make those changes on a regular basis is to be creating some sort of content, whether that's a blog post, a video post, maybe a podcast with notes that go with it, whatever it might be for your industry. And so think about how you can reignite your website to get people over there without having to spend additional money on advertising. So that's what I have for you today. Those 3 tips and a couple of bonus tips. So I hope you'll implement those. I would love to know which of them you think is going to be the easiest to implement. In the meantime, if you have enjoyed this video, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button right there in the corner, the subscribe button. I would love for you to hit that button, and then you'll be notified every time I put a new video out. Thanks so much. In the meantime, stay healthy, take care, and I'll see you soon.